You are now listening to Fighting for Your Life podcast. I am your host, Miguel Ramirez. And on today's episode, we have none other than Jorge Guerrero, the owner, founder, right, of Revive Jiu Jitsu.
Founder,
Dude, I mean,
professor.
Incredible. We had you on here a little while back when we had one of our friends opening up his gym, Rick.
Yeah, Rick.
And here we are opening up your next bigger location,
next
right?
Location, yeah. So we outgrew our old space.
Yeah.
We spent 3 years at the old
3 years
location.
at the old gym.
3 long and hard and really prosperous years.
Yeah.
At that location with, we came out of the location with 30 students out of teaching in my garage.
Yeah.
And then we moved into that space, and then we outgrew that space. We were never able to do something like this in my old space.
Yeah.
It was tiny. It was humble beginnings. On to another venture, which is a bigger school. Hopefully, we can get more students come and train. We moved only a mile north of our old academy.
Yeah. What's the address here?
Here it is 10725 East Main Street.
Okay.
Suite 104. And it's in, if you look it up, it should say Mesa. It's just weird how it lands in this area. If it doesn't, it's look up Apache Junction. So
okay.
It's the same thing. I don't know why, but if you look it up on Google, it'll say Mesa. If you look it up on like Apple, it says Apache Junction.
Okay.
But
just
if you look
Revive.
10725, look up Revive. It should all be there.
Instagram?
Instagram is at Revive BJJ. And then BJJ Mesa is our website.
Okay.
But yeah, we opened up this place. We're having a grand opening. We had a soft opening with our students about little less than a month ago. So we've been here. We've been training, teaching here. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Been training and teaching here. My teammates come by. People come by, want to try it out. And then today we had a grand opening, so we had a big open mat here. We've been going at it for the last 2 hours.
Yeah.
Finally stepped on the mat after, kind of greeting everybody and being a good host and making sure everybody's taken care of while they're here.
Yeah. Dude, it's been amazing. Like, so last time that we talked, I was still training at Coach Carlos's.
Yep.
And since then, I've switched over to Revive. And, I knew this before I came over, but the story of how you started the gym from your garage.
Yes.
Like at what belt level were you when you first started training people in the garage? Like, how did that whole thing start?
I started teaching in my garage around brown belt.
Okay.
And I had no intention of teaching, like ever.
Okay.
Like
So the school wasn't a thing?
No. It was one of those things.
Jiu-jitsu?
I just like training.
Okay.
And just because I think I've mentioned it before, people heard my stories, like too small for everything, right? Couldn't really play. I love, watching sports. Grew up baseball, football, big football fan, and baseball fan. And also kind of humble begins with, with my childhood, we didn't have a lot of money to play, like, sports would cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
I played soccer and stuff like that. And then, I wanted to do jiu-jitsu and whatnot, and then I finally tried it. And then when I did, I loved it.
Yeah.
And I never had the intentions like, I want to open up my school one day. I just wanted to train.
Yeah.
That was me. Was the gym rat. I just want to train. I just want to, get better. And the bug got me where I was like, I just want to get better.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really care about the belts. I just want to get better. And that was honestly, was like, man, the black belt's so far away. Who cares? It's like, I just want to train and get better. I was fortunate that I had, I have a really good professor under me that gave me a lot of guidance and then I wanted to pass that along. So I would cover classes for Coach Carlos, for professor, and here and there, and I just never felt qualified to teach. I was like, I shouldn't be teaching. I was like, but he has,
It's like he needs help, or
not the help. He could. I guess he had the faith, and I could teach, and he said that I can. If I could cover a class for him, it's like that was just strange. I was help my teammates, but then I was like, man. But then as I started helping, and just covering a class here and there whenever he needed, and then helping my teammates, and I saw them, and then they're doing the moves, and they're like, and then I see them in tournaments, and then I have one of my best friends that he used to train. I stopped training for a little bit. He's been gone for like a couple of years. Marco, you know who you are. I was like, I've been trying to get him to come back and train, and he was one of my favorite training partners because he was my size.
Yeah.
I remember as a blue belt, he signed up.
Perfect reason to come back.
Yeah.
Right?
He only lives a mile down the here, so we're closer to him. So he was my favorite training partners, and I saw teaching him and kind of give him guidance, and I saw him getting better.
Yeah.
I was like, man, this is awesome. And then finally around like brown belt, I was like, kind of like, I want to give back to the sport that gave me a whole lot. And if I can do that by teaching, then I'll do that. And for me, it's like I literally just wanted to teach and give back to the community.
Yeah.
Because as you see, I mean, we're a big community. We are very helpful whenever somebody needs something.
Yeah.
You know, they
Very
come out in
supportive,
droves.
everybody.
Oh,
yeah.
100%. And I'll do the same thing. If anybody needs anything, you know, if I can help, I can help.
Right.
Right. So so around brown belt, you know, I asked Carlos, got his blessing if I can teach, because we are an extension of him.
Right.
Right. That's our lineage. So I'm very proud of that, and I wanted to make sure that I can continue. Spreading
for
that
sure.
through him, and he said yes. He said he gave me his blessing. I was like, okay, I'll just start teaching.
Yeah.
And I just started posting on Facebook. Hey, you know,
people from the
teaching,
neighborhood in the garage.
Started teaching people from my neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I started off with one adult, and then I started then 2 kids, and then growing, and then Hayden and Phoenix. Come here, Phoenix.
Guys, come here real quick.
Good. And then we moved on to come back
around.
here, and then we moved on to teaching more kids, and then these
Hayden
were
and
one of Phoenix and Hayden were one of my first 2 kids that I started, or one of my few kids that I started teaching out of my garage, and they've been with me ever since.
Say what's up, guys.
What's up? Hi.
Welcome to Fighting for Your Life podcast. Dude, they've been training since the very beginning, the origin.
Since the origins, they've known me since. Right, we were in my garage training in the hot summer in my garage. You guys are bred faces, right? But they enjoyed it, right?
Yeah.
They enjoyed it. They enjoyed the learning aspect of it. And then, you know, this one here, Mr. Hayden, after only a few months of training, said, I want to compete.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. I was like, if we want to compete, we're going to have to hit it pretty hard, right?
Yeah.
And then we've been at it ever since.
And they just got done doing the kids comp.
Yep, they went
Right?
up to
Yeah.
do the Kids Con in
That's awesome.
Vegas.
Yeah.
So it was their first taste of actually traveling somewhere to
That's
compete.
incredible. Congratulations, guys. That's
a lot of learning.
Yeah,
I mean,
for
as
sure.
you guys know, it's a lot of learning. That's why I still try to compete myself, is to show them that, hey, you know, you can still do it. You know, we might not win all the time, but it's a part of the learning. It's
Right.
like you learn and no, we called them over. It's like, so so they understand. So
Yep.
you guys want to say anything to people that want to train jiu-jitsu? Nothing?
Yeah.
Anything?
Just keep on competing.
Keep on competing,
yeah.
keep on training, right? And keep on learning. And keep having fun.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you make it all just hard work and not have fun, right? We have some days we're just kind of having fun.
Right.
Right? And then some days where we really hit it pretty hard. So it's a testament to the kids that have been with me and the adults that have been with me from the beginning, because they showed the...
Thank you, guys.
Right, thank you. They showed the attitude and the community and the camaraderie to
Right.
have other people. And I get thanked a lot about, you know, having the school and opening up. And I tell them, I was like, I thank them, because
Right.
I can't have the school without having people to train, right? I have people to teach, and I get emotional because it's something I've never thought I would do. And if I can reach out to as many people as I can, you know, that's all it's all about.
Yeah.
So you guys having our community and making our school what it is, it attracts everybody to come and wants to train here and want to train jiu-jitsu, because you hear a lot of people, it's like, I've trained somewhere, or I trained this, and, you know, it just didn't go their way. But at the same time, you know, it's just like anything else. You need to find your group of people
Right.
that you want to be around and you want to have and grow with them.
For sure.
Because, you know, not everybody fits in the same place, right? So, and we all understand that. I, as a human being, I understand that, you know, yeah, maybe my school's not a perfect fit for you, but that's not, you know, me. That's not you. It's just, you know, it's just like anything. It's just like any relationship,
Right?
Right. You grow and you learn from each other, and then like, hey, you know, well, you know, it's not really for me, and then that's okay.
And then you find the one that is. And I was actually just thinking about that on the way over here. Just like and I talk about this all the time, is the community, right? And like I mentioned earlier, I came from Coach Carlos's first, And man, I got to give it up to you, because what Coach Carlos had over there, that is something that's hard to leave, you know, like when you're part of that. And you guys were so much closer to me, and I've known you for years too. And I'm like, dude, it's like, I'm going to go over to George's. And then when I come over here, it's like, it's the same. It's the same culture, the same thing. And I found that, you know, Rick's gym is the same thing.
Same way.
And I was just really thinking about like our team, like the family that we have all through Coach Carlos, which I want to get him on here for a second, and even if I can just share some things with him. But yeah, no, and it's incredible that you can do that, and then go from the garage to the last gym to opening up this place that you have like double the mat space. I mean, this is incredible, man. This you should be like super proud of everything, because this is amazing.
It's like I said, I wouldn't be able to open up a space like this without you guys.
Yeah.
Right. Without, you know, my students, and also the big shout out to the parents, because the kids' parents came out and they helped out in droves. You guys came out, right, and all the parents came out in droves, and all my teammates came out and helped out, you know, and all the adult students came out and helped out, and then, you know, and that's our celebration of your guys' space.
Yeah.
I understand it's, you know, I own it, but it's your guys' space. I'm just here and teaching, right? But you guys, this is your place. I want to somewhere where you guys will be happy to train with.
Yeah.
And want to bring people here and train, because you guys bring your friends, and they come and train, and I tell everybody is welcome to train with me. It's like, I won't exclude anybody. If you from another school, come and train.
I tell people all the time when I travel somewhere, I'm like, hey, if you guys are in Arizona, like hit me up, because I like going to visit places, and you know, I've met all kinds of cool people. It's like, hey, we're all down to meet more cool people.
And that's the way the community goes, because it's like it's a brotherhood, right? And I know you being ex-military, and that's why a lot of law enforcement military people join something like this, because of the camaraderie in the community. And also, you're in the suck with each other.
Exactly.
You know, you're in there, you're trying to beat each other up, and you're suffering. And
there's something about that.
There's something about that. It does attract a certain group of people. But they're the most kind-hearted people that you imagine, and they're the most, you know, opening people, right? Because we've gone out and we've beat each other up, but we're one of the few. We're very gentle people.
Yeah, for sure.
And so it's something, if you ever want to try it out, I know
definitely
a lot of your listeners aren't just jiu-jitsu people.
Yeah.
Right. And I know sometimes martial arts kind of get a stigma of like a certain type of people, but you know, as you see us, I mean, I'm very small. You're
regular average dude.
Right, your regular job, my regular job, I'm a nerd. so it's one of those things. It's like it's also one of those things. It's also an intellectual sport.
Right.
That's one thing people don't understand, how intellectual the sport is, and you got to have some type of smarts to do this do this sport.
I think at a certain point you start taking it serious. You think in the beginning that I'm just gonna do jiu-jitsu and I'm gonna do all the other stuff that I do.
Yep.
But then eventually, jiu-jitsu starts infiltrating everything else, and it's like, I think I'm gonna start doing a little bit better with my eating.
Yep.
Because I think it's gonna affect a little bit more of this. And I think I'm gonna watch a little bit of this instead, because it's gonna help with this, and it just starts affecting everything.
It's a trickle effect of your life. It's you want to make every aspect better to do this one sport, and then but it's a balance.
But to get started, you got to show up.
You got to show up and just
Take
put
the
time
first
in it.
step.
And I tell that to all my kids. If you have kids that want to train, you know, I always tell them, hey, look, you know, when you learned how to do your ABCs, you know how you learn how to spell, right? It takes practice. And I think as kids, they forget that they think, oh, no, it's easy. Well, it's easy now, right? Because you learned. And I said, same thing with this. It's not easy at first. Some things will be easy. But for the most part, you got to work on it. And then I explained to them, look, just like everything else in life, you learn how to tie your shoes, you saw how much of a struggle it was.
Right.
You learn your spelling or your multiplications. It takes practice, or sometimes it comes easy to you.
Right.
So
some people are naturally gifted.
And then the same thing, I had an analogy with one of my students the other day about, hey, right now we're learning, we know the moves, but we're trying to do refine your technique. And try to say, look, I can give you a crayon, and I say, hey, copy this painting, right?
Right.
It's not going to be as great, but we're still working to get it, right? When you first learn a color, you're outside the lines and here, but as you grow up, you learn how to really be an artist.
Yeah.
And so right now, you're learning how to be an artist with this. It's like, right now, we're at the barely of learning how to color inside the lines.
You're scribbling everywhere,
Right? We're skilling everywhere, but we're continue practicing on how to color, and then learning, the tracing, right? All the stuff we did as a kid. So right now, I'm just showing you, and you're just following me. And then later on, you become an artist when you really work on it, right? And then that's why we call it the martial arts. It's an art But the art is with your body and with the
Right.
movements you're doing with your body. So I try to explain that a lot to my kids, because when you explain it that way, I feel like I've gotten a lot of good feedback from the kids.
Yeah.
Because they understand, from my 5-year-olds to the teenagers, they understand. It's like, okay, that makes a little bit of sense, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna work on it. It's gonna be some time, and especially kids, they want to see, right? They want to see improvement right there and then.
Right, yeah.
Right? And same thing with us as adults. I was like, well, it's not happening. I was like, well, you got to continue working.
You got to
It's
try
not-
it again. Try it
right?
again. Try it again.
We work and work and work, right? But then we have to do it live. We
Right.
have to do it there, right? Different when somebody's kind of grabbing you and
Yeah.
whatnot. So that's the fun part, right?
Yeah, no, speaking about the kids class, I wanted you to give us the hours. So the schedule
Yep.
and the days and all that.
We're here Monday through Friday, our normal schedule. Our little kids class are 4:30 to 5:15, and then our big kids class, the little kids class are 5 to 8.5-year-olds, and then our big kids class are 5:15 to 6:15, and those are my 9-year-olds to teenagers.
Okay.
Once they're about like 15 years old, we move on to adult class. We
Okay.
do have some that are a little younger, just because they're a little more mature
Yeah.
body-wise, so they're a little too strong for our kids. And then our adult classes are 6:15 to 7:15, Monday through Friday. Saturdays we have open mat. It's just an open gym. You come in, there's no formal classes going on. You just come in and we're just sparring.
Yeah.
The new people can come in, no problem, because everybody is always helping out. Miguel's always helping out.
Yeah.
And then we're closed on Sundays. And then, so if you ever want to come in, more than welcome. Don't ever be hesitant to come out. I know it's one thing that you really have to build the courage to step in the doors, and I can't help to hear. I hear that a lot. It took me a lot to come in and do this, and it also did me too. It was like, it took a lot, and it took one of my friends to be like, hey, let's go try it. I was like, okay, somebody else wants to do it with me, so let's go do it. And then it finally did it, and it took after years of just kind of wanting to do it.
And it's like so many other things that you do it, and at the end you look back and it's like, it wasn't so bad. You know, like I built it like I thought I was gonna get murdered the first day.
Yeah,
it's like it's not that. It's like, dude, I actually met some really cool people. You know what I mean?
And that's you've been with me for a while. I don't let anybody do any sparring right away. I just let them learn. And let them soak up just the environment and see, like, okay, they do the movements. We're just doing simple movements, learning a few moves, and after that we're watching and continue working. No sparring, because everybody's intimidated by the sparring. They never want to do it because I don't want to get beat up. I was like, well, I don't let you do any sparring anyways right now. I was like, I'm just letting you do the moves, and then I'll slowly get comfortable. We'll just work with just one of kind of like you, some of the higher belts of that, and just let them work. Sorry.
Yeah.
And then, but yeah, that's what a lot of people was like, and I was afraid to get hurt too. It's like, so I'm a small human being. That's like, so I don't want to get hurt, and I'm fortunate, just like any other sport. You do have some bumps in there, and then, but if you can continue working at it, man, it's awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
You get a mental workout and you get a physical workout and all that stuff. So,
dude, awesome, man. I really appreciate you coming through. I wanted to see if I can grab somebody. Well, we're in the middle of a raffle now. Anyway, I guess we could just keep going.
Yeah. So go ahead.
No, so I was gonna ask you about your influences growing up. Like, what influence did you have? Any martial arts influences, like video games, movies? Like, what? Recently I started
Ninja Turtles.
Ninja Turtles.
Power Rangers.
Which one did you want to be?
I don't remember. I was like, I always get asked that. I think for me it was more like I was a big Spider-Man fan.
Okay.
And a big Batman fan. And I remember coming home from school and watching it. Right, we were putting on whatever channel it was. But more like Power Rangers. I remember I wanted to be like the Red Ranger or the the White Ranger.
Okay.
So I grew up with that. I grew up watching martial arts, kind of like, like obviously Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
But I was actually, my dad was big in baseball and boxing.
Okay.
So Julio Cesar Chavez was one of like our main people that I always watch. I remember watching him growing up, and then when he lost to Oscar De La Hoya, and I was like, man, it was like, so it was a bummer. But it was one of those things where I came up through a household that it was more like boxing.
Boxing.
I did a little bit of boxing when I was a kid, just because my brother was doing it at the time. And I learned quickly that I didn't like getting hit in the face. Right? I was like, so that was one thing growing up. I just watched, stuff like that, Ninja Turtles and whatnot. But I was a big traditional sports fan.
Okay.
Still to this day, not as big as I was when I was growing up because
But
I don't have enough
basketball,
time. but
football,
I was a
baseball.
big baseball fan. I grew up
Baseball.
an Angels fan because I grew up in Southern California.
Okay.
And I was a big Angels fan, and I'm a big Cowboys fan. And
Okay.
obviously the Lakers fan, and growing up, and I grew up watching those three major sports.
I was just saying, like, I don't remember back in the day, back in our day. That shit, it's crazy that we can say that now.
Yeah.
But like, there were like legit karate, like
Yes.
martial arts movies. You know, like
Yep.
you had Bloodsport, you had the Bruce
Bloodsport.
Lee
There we go.
movies.
Yeah, Bloodsport.
You had like the Kickboxer, like all the Van Damme movies, right? What was the other one? Lionheart. You remember that one where he was fighting in the pools? He was like a street fighter.
Vaguely. I remember that one.
I mean, I guess John Wick today would be
John
that,
Wick,
right?
yeah.
I was thinking, like, there's not like so many like actual martial arts movies today as there were back in the day.
No, I mean, now they try to incorporate some jiu-jitsu into the moves, but people see it as like, that doesn't work. It works.
Well, no, like John Wick, like he tries to
he
put
did a lot of judo
a lot of the
and
stuff in there.
they do some judo throws in there, some like arm bar stuff and stuff like that.
I've seen some interviews with him. It's pretty cool how like they actually try to put some real stuff.
But
in there
I
like
don't
that.
think like you're saying, like I don't think they have any more like
More it's just
traditional
action
I think
now.
Van Damme was a big one that growing up. I was a big Bloodsport fan.
Dude,
and-
Bloodsport. Did you know that whole thing is fake? I'm sorry if I'm breaking your heart.
No,
right
like
now.
the person they modeled it off.
Yeah,
I knew that.
Did you know?
Yeah,
Dude, I was like,
Yeah.
are you freaking kidding me right now?
Yeah, first thing I was like, oh yeah, this guy did that. I was like,
He was
allegedly,
a huge-
we heard it's fake. It's like, gotta say that in there.
There's a lot of people getting their hearts broken right now. They're like, what?
You know, it's like, but yeah, I remember seeing an interview. And they were doing that, and they tried to like all that stuff. They tried to like all fact check all this stuff, and then I was like, "Oh, it's
Turns
not
out
real.
none of it was. It happened.
It was a good
or
movie.
He was, yeah, right.
I still like it.
Everybody was like sand in the eyes, like fighting blindfolded.
Did you
know?
have any like people that you looked up to, like martial arts wise?
So well, my dad, like as a kid. So my dad, he fought in the second Taekwondo World Tournament.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
So he fought in the second one. He got second place in the world. And so growing up as a kid, like I used to, like my Legos were like his karate trophies.
wow.
So I used to take them apart and put them all together and build stuff. We had like bags of boxing gloves and chest protectors. So that was always like around. So as kids, my friends would come over. We would put gloves on and just beat the crap out of each other. And then with my dad, just watching boxing, Bruce Lee movies, Bloodsport, like all of that stuff. You know, because that's what he loved.
That's cool.
You
Did you do
know?
like any traditional martial arts growing up?
So for me, it was kind of funny because like my dad being as good as he was, he did what he did, and then he got into kickboxing.
Yeah.
And he noticed that a lot of martial arts, like if you go to a Taekwondo school, you're going to learn a lot of things that if you were to actually do them, you're going to get yourself hurt in a fight.
Yeah.
You know, so he was like, I'm about fighting. My grandfather was a boxer, so my dad did Taekwondo, so he kind of mixed them both together. And he was like, I'm only going to teach you what's effective.
Yep.
Like the real stuff, the form for kicks, real punches, blocking, defense, and all that. So he would teach me at the house, and all my friends would go to karate schools.
Ah, okay.
And I was always like, I want to go to freaking karate school with all my friends.
You had your own Mr. Miyagi,
Right?
Just training out of your garage at your house.
For real. But the funny thing is that I didn't understand the difference.
Yeah.
Because they were going to these karate school, and one day my dad went. I was like, I want to go to the school, and he's like, fine, let's go.
Yeah.
So we went to the school. And he talked to the guy, and he's like, do you mind if my son sits in? And I could see the difference in, like, the way people kick.
Yeah.
Because he was like, I mean, I almost kicked the glove out of the dude's hand.
Oh, okay.
And it was like, it was just different. Like, the form, the power.
Actually literally honed in the skill.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, I can see.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, cool. But that was like, I got up to, I'm a yellow belt in Taekwondo.
Yeah.
You know, so I rep that proudly.
Did you I know you, because you have two kids, did they ever do like traditional martial arts?
No, so so that was all I did, and then when I got to high school, I did a little boxing. I sparred a little bit, got my freaking bell rung, and I was like, I don't know if I want to do this.
Yeah.
And then as the kids got older, watching UFC and everything, and I kind of started understanding martial arts a little bit more, and I was like, I don't want them getting hit in the head. I think jiu-jitsu is probably the way to go. So I just started them off with that.
Yeah, same. Yeah. I was like, my daughter just did karate stuff at school. They had a little karate program. She did her katas or whatever they call them, right?
Right.
So she did that, and then I remember when COVID happened and they were doing remote schooling, so they were still doing PE. So she had it they were doing their forums and
over the video.
Yeah, over the video. So she's in there. I think she was only like maybe 8 or 9. And she was sitting there. We have like an old video of her. We were watching. My son had just started kindergarten, so his first experience of school was during COVID.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so he was right away to remote
weird.
schooling. So he was like, they're trying to get 5-year-olds to pay attention to a computer screen, and like little kindergartners, and she's on the other end trying to do like her karate
moves.
stuff. So that's why I remember we had this little video my wife had, showing me about when they were that small. But
man, that was a crazy time.
That was a crazy time because
I remember we had set
that's when I
up
started teaching.
like video. Is that when the gym started at the garage?
Yeah, like the beginnings of it when I started getting more people. Yeah, I started before that in 2019. But when
That's
COVID
tough.
hit, and I was still kind of somewhat teaching, and because everything closed down once in my garage, so I was like, I'm sorry to break it to you if you. It's like, so I was teaching, but people stuck around. They, the people that wanted to train, they trained. I was like, if you don't want to train, no hard feelings for me.
Yeah.
It's like, for me, it was like, if you want to train, I'll train. And then
Dang, you had one of the underground fight clubs.
Yeah, it's like, so it was in my garage.
I knew there was a couple of them.
It was a we unfortunately, yes. So don't look too harsh on me now. It's 4 years later.
Hey, we all know what it is at this point.
So but yeah, that's how it was. And going back to traditional martial arts, I mean, if my kids would want to do it, I wouldn't be opposed to it.
Right.
My son is 9 years. He just turned 9 Friday, and he wants to compete. Like, I don't push him to compete at first. I was like, hey, let's just get you to compete once. It's like, see how you like it. And I was like, okay. And then we didn't do anything for like a year and a half. And then he come up to me, he's like, I want to compete again.
Yeah.
I was like, sure. And I was like, we just got to train. And then you see, you come in here. I try not to, coach him too much. I let you guys kind of help out, and and the other coaches that come and help, I let them kind of teach him, because I know how it is when dad's always the one teaching you. It's kind of like, yes, dad. And it's like,
it helps to have
as a
others.
parent, if you're a parent, you know how that goes. It's because you're the only voice they're hearing all the time.
You say the same thing over, and then somebody else says something, and they're like, oh yeah, let's do that.
So that's what I try to do. I try not to push them. So I have and then my daughter, she likes she doesn't like the training, but I told her, hey, I'd rather you learn how to defend yourself, right?
So there's different schools of thought on that, right? And I'm in a similar, like, Joey doesn't really enjoy training jiu-jitsu, but I'm like, dude, I mean, as a boy and being, kind of like your personality, he loves Rubik's Cubes and all this stuff. I'm like, dude, you're going to get picked on.
Yep, that's my son. My sons get bullied at school.
Yeah, exactly. And some people are like, well, if you force them to train, then they're not going to like it. And it's like, well, I mean, the way I see it is like, in life, you're going to do things that you don't want to do that are good for you, right? And I tell them, I'm like, you don't have to become a black belt. If you learn how to defend yourself, that's all I care about. The
only time I told you just give me a blue belt. That's it.
Yeah.
Just give me a blue belt. That means you have to train at least until you're 16. So if you don't come back to me until like you're 14, and then now 2 years, 16,
right?
It's like, and then we learn how to do that, and then I told her, you'll thank me later. It's like later on in life, you'll thank us that we made you kind of train a little bit. She doesn't have to train in months, and she hasn't trained in half a year. I was like, because right now she's doing like hit training. She enjoys doing that. I was like, okay, well, I'm good with that. I was like, you're doing something. At least do something. I was like, she likes sports, and she's getting into more sports. She wants to do that. And my son, he likes playing soccer and likes jiu-jitsu. It's like, I try not to, push him too hard. But if, when the training comes, like, hey, I still want you to train. Try to at least spar hard.
Do your thing, yeah.
But you don't have to be like the best in the world. Just train, because you learn how to defend yourselves. And then, unfortunately, when the other people are trying to grab you and this and that, at least you fight. And then you learn how to.
It's not foreign to you, right?
What big thing is, like, as long as they learn how to defend themselves, but also as long as you give them. You give them that sense of overcoming an obstacle, and having the what's it called, a difficult situation to overcome. See ya. So
later, dude.
Is I guess the perseverance and I guess just being mentally strong.
That's something you can build on all the time.
You instill that in the kids all the time, because you always hit no matter what kid is, you get a breakthrough with them, as they understand, okay, I got to train hard if I want to, not get overwhelmed, and then they're always in that fight or flight mode, and then eventually they're like, oh, I'm good with this. So they're like, oh, they're comfortable with just being uncomfortable, right?
Right.
And
what's
then
next?
We've done it so long that they get comfortable doing all that stuff, and it's good. And then it's something different than a team sport, because a team sport, like, well, my teammate will, pick up the slack over there, and it's like, well, this and that. We're here, it's only you. It's like, it's only you that gets to,
get out on the mat.
Get on the mat, be in training or competition. So,
nobody can do it for you.
And I'm not I don't push my kids to compete, meaning not my own kids, but my students. I don't push anybody to compete. If they want to compete and they say it's a goal, then I try to have them go a little harder. But I never try to force anybody to compete. I'd rather just them come in and learn a skill.
Right.
When they learn a skill, then as they learn, then they might get that bug of competing. It might take a year or two. It's like, hey, I want to test myself. I was like, and then if they don't do it ever again, no big deal. At least they know what it's like, and you're getting better. And like, so.
Speaking of competing, I got a competition coming up.
We do.
I got October 12th. I signed up, and I've been kind of getting on a roll. I got a couple pounds to lose. Man, these last couple, I don't know what the heck is going on. Maybe it's the taco truck you brought across the street.
The taco truck is here. Everybody's loving it.
But yeah, no, it is good to have things like that to kind of refocus every once in a while and kind of get yourself, just there's times like we have these images of ourselves. Of our potential. Yep. And sometimes you got to make that reality. Yep. And these are things that help do that. stretching yourself, opening up a new location. Yeah. And competing in the Masters tournament, the World Masters like you do,
It's hard. I mean, you have a full-time job, right? Yeah. You travel for work and you do the podcast. You do the podcast with your wife. Yeah. Right? You come and train, right? And you're a family, right? And on top of trying to, raise kids, now you got teenagers. Yeah. So you know how it is. It's like I'm the same way. It's like I have a full-time job. I teach here. I'm a dad. It's like we try to do normal stuff like sports stuff, and we're husbands. It's like try to do that stuff. It's like, and you try to get as much time as you can because slowly, I mean, we're both at that age where like we don't have that many years left, so we got to put in. Right, really try to do the stuff we want to do. If I can do it right now, compete and do it as I can, I know my body's not gonna hold up forever. So if I can do this stuff and never look back, but like I should have competed more, I should have done this more. I should. I'm to the point where it's like I want to do stuff that I would like to do, and also show my kids and my friends and my students on, hey, if I can do it, you can do it. Right, I'm a small person, and I take pride of. Doing that stuff, and I see you competing. I said, all right, if we're gonna compete, let's hit it hard, and we have been hitting hard. We'll probably pick it up a little more here next week, and try to get a little more trained. But it's one of those things where I think maybe I always was like that. Is I never wanted to let my coach down, never wanted my friends down because, and you're out there competing. But after the fact, is we don't care if you win or you lose. Because you're out there and you're testing yourself when you know how hard it is. Right. And it's like it's already a hard sport as it is, and then but you go out there and you do it, man. You get more love out of it than anything. Right. And then after you're done, you're like, cool, I'm done. We'll go celebrate. Yeah. Like we did in Vegas. We had like 35 people. We went to Fogo.
That's awesome.
And we had like 35 people of us, and we're all crowded in there. But it was awesome because we had the kids, we had all the adults, we had teammates, and it was fun. We all ate and we had fun. We laughed. And those are the memories that you're building, and then you're building and showing the kids that of, hey, you have a group of friends that you guys all, do something hard and eat together, and then you can go eat dinner together and hang out and just have fun later on.
Yeah, for sure.
It looks like everybody's heading out.
Everybody's heading out. I think open mat is almost over. But no, I think what we could do is just give everybody the location again. We're on Signal Butte and what is Apache Trail?
So it's technically Maine. Maine? So that's what doesn't make any sense. So yes, it's we're on the southwest corner of Maine and Signal Butte out here in the farthest east. Make sure you can get.
Yeah. So if you look up the Big Five Sporting Goods, we're right next door. Big Five Sporting Goods.
Yeah. So 10725 East Main Street or East Apache Trail, Suite 104. If you come out here. We have, like you said, we're next to the Big Five out here.
Yeah, Monday through Friday. We got little kids class at 4:30.
4:30, yep.
And then
big kids 5:15.
5:15 to 6:15, and adults at
6:15 until sometimes we're here pretty late hanging out. Meeting of the minds after class, right? We're all kind of hanging out and we're all kind of trying to get each other's input on things and whatnot. So
and then open mat on Saturdays.
Open mat on Saturdays, and we're closed Sundays because Sundays is family days for me.
10 to 12?
So 10 to whenever. Usually
10 till everybody's
That's
worn
why
out.
Like today, I was like, I didn't say any end time. I was like, you guys leave whenever you feel like you want to leave because I'll keep my doors open until, whenever the last person is coming. I ain't going to kick anybody out. Unless it's like a normal day where I was like, hey, it's a little late 9 o'clock on a weekday. It's like, we all got to get home too. I got family.
We got work in the morning.
Yeah, we all got work in the morning. So,
no, man, I
big
can't.
Shout out to Miguel
I really
for
can't.
Doing this.
No, for sure. Thank you for having me here. And, I can't. It's hard to express, what the jiu-jitsu community is like. Yep. I mean, from the traveling that I've done, but with our team, it's just something a little bit different that, Coach has built and has it's spread through everybody. And it's just kind of a feeling that we all just kind of have of this big family. Yep. We all help each other out. We support each other. Rick, Rejuve Jen. Yep. We got Rhett, Patriot Martial Arts. Yep. So
Paris at Fight Ready.
We got Paris and
Danny Prevey up in Oregon. So he has 2 schools in Oregon.
Yeah,
I believe Salem, Oregon.
Yeah, I got to get out. That
Don't
would
quote
be
me
awesome.
on that, but I believe Oregon. He's called Daniel Prevey BJJ, I believe.
Yeah.
But it's the testament of everybody that started with us in the camaraderie. Like you said, you named all the affiliates that we have here in the Valley, one out of state, and starting with Carlos when he was fresh, like
the new gym, the
very first gym. I mean, we started in these karate studios, and then left that studio, and then we were at another karate studio, and then they folded up, so we were nomads for a little bit. And then the community came in and helped out, and we opened up Carlos opened up that little one.
Yeah.
The little Red Mat gym, and then he expanded the Red Mat gym to the size that the Red Mat gym he broke down the wall and expanded in
that
there.
one bigger.
And it was the size of our old gym that for us.
Okay.
And then to the old Blockbuster, right? And now we're in the old Radio Shack. So I don't know. They taking care of these old 90 stores, putting them back to good use. If you know Radio Shack or a Blockbuster,
you're of our age.
You tell that to our kids that come in and whatnot. Like this little girl that's coming in, Sophia. She don't even know what a Blockbuster or a Radio Shack is.
No clue.
So they might get an idea if we tell them. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, give them a VCR or a cassette tape. I was like, what is this?
That's what the first UFCs are on.
Right, exactly, right. As like, or you have the old. What was the old thing before DVD? Right, it was huge. It was like a record. A laser disc.
A laser
disc. Right. I remember when I was in middle school, my science teacher had those laser discs.
Yeah.
It was before DVDs. They were around the same time, but a laser disc was the size of if you know what a record is, the size of a record. Yeah, vinyl record. Right? What is it? 18 inch?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. And that's what a laser disc was before DVDs became popular. It was a laser disc.
That's crazy.
And he would pop it in. And that's how we'd watch it. Like about
science
and whatnot. Yeah. And then this is the future. Shout out to Mr. Smith. That's one of people you said who I looked up to. Mr. Smith was one of a big influences on me. He was my science teacher, but he always preached on learning and getting not just like a higher education, just educating yourself.
Yeah.
And I don't know why he was a big influence on me at that age, but I remember to this day, and I remember when I went to high school, I ran into him. Well, I was working at a Kmart, another place that doesn't exist. I was I was working at a Kmart, and I saw him and his wife, and I was like, Mr. Smith, and I was like, and I remember he used to drive one like a Corvette at the time. I was like, man, this guy's so cool, right? It's like he had he was my science teacher, had swag, and I was like, and he had a Corvette, and I remember him just being a big inspiration on just the way I thought about things and about how we should look at life. And it's like, I think now that I think of it, I don't know why he popped in. Oh, the laser disc popped in my head. And just him popped into my head. I remember I don't know how old he should be now. I was like, I want to say maybe he was in his late 40s when I was 13 or 14. So he should still be around. Yeah. Hopefully, Mr. Smith. I was like, if you're out there, Mr. Smith, look at me now.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing him in high school. When I was in high school and I was working at that Kmart, I think I was like a junior or senior. And I remember seeing him, and he still gave me words of encouragement. And,
those people that make a difference.
He's one of them, one of the biggest influences of my young life.
Yeah.
If you have one of those people and to do that to you, it's like, man, it's awesome because you talk to people and then you just take it as a throwaway. You're just talking to them, just give them an advice and not really thinking of it any other way, just talking to them. And I try not to be like put myself on a pedestal. I always end it is like, I'm still a human being. I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm just your coach. I just teach jiu-jitsu, and that's it. It's like, I just been doing this longer than you, but I'm just a human being. I make mistakes, right? We all make mistakes. Don't think that whatever I say is going to be the end all be all.
And different people know different things about different stuff. That's just how it is.
We have a lot of people in jiu-jitsu that from different walks of life, and we know this. Your line of work. We have doctors, lawyers, everybody.
The gym is a perfect example of that because when it comes time to build a new gym, it's like there's people with all kinds of different skills that kind of come together and all help.
And that helped out when we came in here, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know how to break down the wall. I didn't know this.
But we had construction.
We had people that own construction business, so they came in to help out.
The family came through.
We made this place happen. These kids came and broke down the wall too, right, guys? Okay, and as you see, it's not just boys that train. You know, actually, I have a lot more girls than I do have boys. Right? Sometimes more girls here than boys.
I definitely.
And they kick butt all the time.
That's something like with my daughter too. I'm like, that is. I suggest that for. I mean, boys are just gonna get into fights.
Yep.
But I think it's a necessity for girls. You know,
Yep,
you just
100%.
You should know how to defend yourself.
Yep. And that's what I tell them all the time when they're like, you guys don't think you're getting better, but you're getting better because if you get a brand new person in here and they've only trained 6 months, think about, right, of how easy it is sometimes to do things to them, right? Because you've been training
Like, why
longer.
are you smiling? Like, shit. You just
or
flip 'em
even
over,
when
right?
when new boys come in, right? They see you girls, it's like, oh, I can take them. I was like, this is a girl, right? And they see you guys, and you're like, and they're like, whoa. This is not what I thought. These girls really know how to fight back. It's like, right? Even though
They
that's
get a
one,
little
and it's
surprised.
crazy because you're not hitting them, right? We don't hit each other, right? There's no striking,
Right.
But you learn how to control somebody I think that's why also it's more daunting when you get one of our young girls to train
Right.
with, and they're not even hitting them, and they're just controlling you.
It makes it.
And they're like, oh, it's like they're grabbing me, it's like, and everything, and then right,
There's
and
nothing I can do
there's
about
nothing
it.
I can do about it, right? And I was like, well, if I can hit you, I was like, well, I'm still gonna be on top of you, controlling you. It's like so, but it's good. It's like these girls have all
Yeah.
been with me by 2 or more years. 2, 3, and 3, a little more than almost 4 years.
Yeah.
Right, and then one of our boys, you can come over here, Alexander. One of our boys here.
Here's Alexander. Say
One of
what's
our
up,
few boys
Alexander.
over here that's been with me for how long? You been with me, Alexander? 2.5, something like that.
2.5
I think
years.
it's about almost 3 years. 'Cause I think you
Yeah.
started when I opened up the other spot.
Okay.
So
This is some of our
and
kids'
then some
class.
of our kids' classes.
And I
you
help
see
out with
little
the
friendly
kids' class,
faces.
too. Yeah.
Miguel helps out all the time. I always appreciate it when they help out because it is a lot of kids sometimes, and then if they want to help out, I'm all for it because it's like I said, it's not just my voice. The kids are always hearing because these kids become as like all my adopted kids.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
I have like 50 adopted kids.
So you start seeing them grow, and you're like, oh.
It is true because
It
I've
is.
seen these people. I've been seeing this one grow up.
Right.
I've seen her since 6 years old,
Yeah, for
and
sure.
now we're 10. Yeah, so it's like, I've seen him grow up. I've seen him grow up. He's my son's age. He's become one of my son's best friends now, right? And seen you since, 6 years old as well?
That's
Something
amazing.
like that. About to be 9. So you grow up with these kids, and the same thing, when you become their coach, the same thing. You need other coaches to get in their ear because it's not just their coach yelling at them all the time. And I tell them, I'm not yelling at you because I'm mad at you. I'm yelling at you because I need you to do something, right?
And even aside from the martial arts thing, I think a great point is when you have kids and you bring them to something like this is that other where your coach is going to say something that a parent would say in a different context. Like we're talking about jiu-jitsu, but it's also going to apply to cleaning up your room.
100%.
It's going to apply to doing your homework in school. So it's just another person reiterating what your parents want.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But if you guys want to join the community, join the culture, come check it out.
Yep.
Definitely come
Anytime.
come by on Main and Signal Butte, Revive Jiu Jitsu.
Revive Jiu-Jitsu.
Guys, thank you for being with us. Thank you guys for listening, and
Thank
we'll
you.
talk to you guys next time. Bye.